This is Inside Texas Politics with Jason Whiteley on WFAA.
Time now for Reporters Roundtable to put the headlines in perspective. Ross, Bud, and Bernadine Steptoe, WFAA's political producer, here each week. And Ross, we'll start with you. It was a tough week for several Texas Democrats running for U.S. Senate. MJ Hegar and Cristina Tzintzún Ramirez specifically. Tell us why.
Well, MJ Hegar is fighting an old Republican vote that her opponents are wanting to talk about and that she's not wanting to talk about. Tzintzún Ramirez had a couple of moments. She had a Twitter moment where she was boasting of an endorsement from Susan Sarandon, who turned out not to be as popular with her followers as she expected, and in an interview suggested that her name Tzintzún was more Mexican than some other names like Garcia and so on. So she had to kind of battle those back. Everybody in this race is fighting for attention and fighting for negative points on their opponents, so they're all going to emphasize each other's mistakes as they go.
Yeah, indeed. More Mexican though, Bud? Come on.
Well, you know, it was amazing, but I think the most damaging part of that story was that she really grew up as Christy Costello and had made herself Christina and adapted a different family name, and which a lot of people changed names. We have a lieutenant governor who did, but the whole name changes started to raise other questions. Susan Sarandon fell for the Green Party scam last time. Nobody really thinks she's a good endorsement. Hegar voted for Carly Fiorina, she says, in the Republican primary against Donald Trump. Was that the right vote?
Yeah, and so the big question, Bernadine, does this hurt them in Super Tuesday? Do either of them have more of a chance or less of a chance at the runoff?
I don't really think it's going to affect either one, because the voting issue with Hegar came up early on. And then the other issue, I don't think she's polling well enough in the polls, Ramirez, for that to even matter. I think that it's a lot of chatter now, but as far as affecting their polls, I don't think it's going to have any kind of negative or positive for that matter.
Jason, we still have Royce West and Chris Bell in that race. They both have a lot of older base voters in the party base who support them, so it's really a wide open race.
Yeah,
it really is.
No idea which way this is going to swing. Let's shift off, Ross, to all the presidential attention we're getting from Democratic candidates. Mike Bloomberg here this weekend. Bernie was down in Galveston, out in El Paso, your hometown. Pete Buttigieg here last week. Joe Biden is coming on Thursday. How's DFW going to fit into this whole puzzle?
Well, I think the first thing DFW is going to fit in as it usually does. It's a source of money. Texas is kind of an ATM for national races. The first big votes are in Iowa and New Hampshire. So I think we're going to see a surge from these candidates. They're putting their ground operations in, they're raising money, and then they're going to disappear for a couple of weeks and go off to those other states. But they'll be back because the Texas primary is just a few weeks away.
We are the national ATM, it seems like, Bud.
Jason, it's important to remember that Houston has 700,000 Democratic votes. Dallas County only has 400,000. So if you read about candidates visiting Harris County a lot, there's a reason. That's where a lot of the votes are. Tarrant, Bear, and Travis are all about the same, but they're all way behind Harris. So the votes are there. But what's important is that Bloomberg and Warren are putting staffs in, and Bloomberg says his staff will stay throughout the fall.
Bernadine, final word.
Well, all of the candidates eventually will put staff here, but keep in mind, those 400,000 votes that are in Dallas County are very much needed, especially since Dallas County has a high number of Democratic voters. So you cannot ignore it. So they're going to be coming to both Dallas County and in the Houston area.
And Harris County as well, too.
Yes, Harris County.
And we'll be covering it all. We appreciate you guys joining us. And thanks for watching as well. We'll be covering these guys as they come into the different cities here in Texas. ABC's This Week